Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with another knife video for you, and today we're going to talk about the Studies and Observation Group. I'm not going to say formerly known as SOG because we're always still going to call them SOG, and they still put it on the pocket clips. But it is kind of a company that is trying to move back towards that original name. It goes back to Vietnam days. I'm not going to explain all of it here, but they've been around for a very long time, and I think to their own admission, I know to their own admission because I talked to them, and they've admitted that have not made the most amazing stuff the last several years, but they really turned a corner. I think starting like last year with the Terminus XR, which is a great freaking knife. I've done a whole bunch of videos about that knife. I really like it a whole lot, especially the S35 VN version. And now these 5 are from their 2020 lineup, and it's not all of them by any stretch of the imagination. They've come out with a whole lot this year, but these are 5 that I've got within the last week. I will be doing full reviews of these at some point here and there when I need to fill in some space, but honestly, if I did my usual, do a video of one brand, take a few days off, and then maybe put in another one, it would be like 2 months of SOG. So I just want to get this out here, my first impressions, because I am pretty impressed with all of these in individual ways. And I'm just really, really happy to see this company pushing forward. I have an affection for them. When I was in the Air Force, I used to get issued stuff, that had the SOG brand on it. I still have a couple fixed blades from them that I got while I was in the military, and it's a company that I really root for, and it's so good to see them really pushing forward and doing some amazing stuff. A lot of these knives come in a bunch of different colors and everything. I'm going to try to cover that as much as I can. We're going to give some stats and some specs and stuff. I'll talk about them briefly, and then we'll move on to the next one. So let's get going. Off to the right, this is a really unique knife, and I do really enjoy it. When I ordered this, I forgot that I got the gold blade. It comes in either the gold blade or a stonewash. This is the Ultra XR S35 VN. It is not horribly inexpensive. I do have to say it's $124.95, and it is a pretty slim, very extremely light knife. 0.84 ounces, so under an ounce. Carbon fiber, very unique version of the XR lock. All these are variations of the XR lock. What's cool about this one is it's based off of the Benchmade axis lock that the patent expired on. SOG does a good job with it. I'm sorry, I'm going to keep saying SOG. I know they want me to say the whole name, but it doesn't have an Omega spring. It's got this little coil spring to keep it thin. And oh wow, is it thin? You're looking at a handle thickness of 0.20 inches. Is extremely thin, and the clip matches the blade. If you get the normal kind of, I think it's kind of a stonewashy finish, you get the same thing on the clip. But it is ridiculously light. You're looking at an overall length of 6.125 inches, blade length of 2.75 inches, blade thickness just 0.08 inches, handle thickness, like I said, 0.20 inches, and a weight. Yeah, they say 1.21 ounces, but no, I measured it well under an ounce. It does have a big giant clip on it, but it works as a money clip, and it does very well. There's another model of theirs I didn't put on here. I could have included it, made this 6, but this knife is designed to be a money clip, and this is basically just a super lightweight version of this. And this is infinitely more expensive. Less expensive. This is like $25 or something like that. But I like this one, and I did carry it like as a money clip. Just obviously in the times we're in right now, I ain't carrying cash. I don't want to touch your dirty money. But I had just like my ID and like 3 cards, and it worked really well. It does work very well in that function. Still opens, like the XR lock. Obviously there is practically no weight in this blade. So is it going to drop shut? No, it's just gravity. There's not enough there. But if you flick it, it kind of does. And you can still open it like that. And you can still close it like that. You got to give it a lot of wrist. But it's nothing to do with the smoothness or anything. It still feels fairly smooth. It's just that it's just gravity, ain't going to happen. But I really like this unique little thing. $125 for a unique little thing. it might be a lot, but if you're a fan of the company, I think it's super cool. And I definitely have zero plans of getting rid of it. I really enjoy it. Does it cut well? Yes. It's about, what did I put here in my notes? 17 thousandths behind the edge. And it's such a thin blade, and it is hollow ground. And it's just such a thin blade. Maybe it's flat. I can't really tell. You can feel the hollow more in the cash card, the one I showed, cheap one I showed earlier. This might not be quite as hollow, but still, it slices extremely well. All these came really sharpened out of the box, and you know, it's great. I really like it. I think it's just a very unique, cool thing. Smoking the Bandit look. How can you complain there? Next one up, the next three are all kind of in their sort of tactical series, which is what, they're sort of known for. So it's, kind of unsurprising they came out with a bunch of tactical knives. Just spoiler alert, I think all three of them are pretty cool. This is the Vision XR. This is one of their much more higher end knives, and I'm glad to see them doing it. I'm glad to see them step up in price. If people get upset that, oh, they used to always be inexpensive, now they're a bit more. No, they're just moving up. It's worth it, because this is CTS XHP steel, which is a really good steel, and it has their cryo heat treatment on it, which in my experience is pretty good. When it says that cryo whatever on it, it's usually pretty decent. And it's Tanto. So I like that. It does come in a partially serrated blade as well. I just got the straight edge, but it is a very kind of tactically oriented knife. It has the XR lock, and this one definitely will close just completely drop shutty. I mean, look at that. This is literally, this one I've used the least of all these, so I think this is probably like the, I don't know, 15th or 20th time it's been flipped open, and I've done nothing to it. As quick as any Benchmade, absolutely. Ergonomics are really, really good. You do have some jimping up here. It's not jimp-tastic, but it's got a little bit on there, just enough. The Tanto is really well done. Like I said, I've been kind of a fan of those lately. There are thumb studs if you want to open it that way. It does stick out of the pocket quite a bit. If I have one little complaint, that's it. But it is sort of a tactical knife. They want something for you to grab a hold of. I kind of get it. I'm not. It's not breaking my heart. But you know me. I always like a bit more of a deep carry. But just it's SHP. I love XHP steel. It's one of my favorites, and it's just they've done an excellent job. These are $150, $149.95 to be exact, and the G10 is very grippy, but not completely insane. Stats wise, you have an overall length of 8 inches, blade length of 3.375 inches, blade thickness not horribly thick for kind of a tactical knife, and I like that, 0.13 inches, handle thickness of 0.54 inches, and a weight, according to my scales, of 4.49 ounces. And only about 23 thousandths behind the edge. So this is a good slicer, good EDC knife. If you like this kind of look, it will work perfectly fine. Nothing to really complain about in the sort of EDC world, except that you have this much knife sticking out, but they're making a concession to the tactical crowd. Next up, the Pentagon XR. So the Pentagon was a fixed blade, and then it was a folder. Now we're in the XR, blah, blah, blah. Also, CTS XHP, $174.95. This is a bit more of a beefy knife. Overall length of 8.375 inches, blade length of 3.5 inches. Blade thickness, though, still again, it's got, this kind of dagger grind. The thickest point is still 0.13 inches. A handle thickness, 0.55 inches, and a weight, according to my scales, of 4.55 ounces. It's a very unique sort of dagger blade. It's not dual-edged, sort of. So the top here is all, not sharpened. But right up here, that last, quarter inch is. And I find that to be extremely useful. This is, of all these, this is the one that I've wanted to use the most. I really like that. I flip it around backwards and use it to open packages and stuff. Obviously, you got to be careful. Remember not to choke up, if you're using it that way, because that part's sharp. But it's kind of cool. It's meant just to assist with piercing. This is probably the most tactical knife of all the ones here, but it's it still works great for little fine detail stuff. It's nice to have that thing to go back and forth. Even sometimes I notice opening stuff, you can just kind of go one way and then go back the other way, which is really super handy. Again, it carries a bit high, not as high as the Vision, but just a little bit. Action is still excellent. May not be quite as drop shotty as the Vision, but that may just be a, my example versus that example. They're close enough. I'm not going to say that like one is worse than the other. Ergonomics, again, are awesome. All of these knives here on the table, even that thin little thing, they did a really good job with the ergos, I do have to say. For a thin little thing, that thing has pretty good ergos. You can feel the pocket clip a bit more on the Pentagon, but not too bad. I'm really enjoying it. It is kind of thick behind the edge. You're looking at about, what did I write down here? 31 thousandths behind the edge. That's a bit thick, but it's partly, just because it's a dagger grind, so it doesn't have as far to go up. But it still slices, well enough. And like I said, with that double blade tip, it's really useful. It genuinely is. And yeah, the ergos are good. The only weird thing I have to say, not sure what's up with this. One side, there's a smooth spot on the G10. Not completely smooth, but fairly smooth. And I thought, oh, well, if that's the way it is on both sides, it's fine. But it isn't on the other. And if it was going to be on one side, I'd rather it was on the one with a pocket clip for a right-handed person, or on both sides, because that would be nice. Because this pocket clip, it is pretty aggressive G10. And same I can say for the Vision. They're not pocket destroyers, but yeah, they do rub a little bit. So I would love it if this smooth spot was on this side, but it isn't. So that's the only kind of weird thing I have to say about it. But other than that, I really like the knife. I like the look. I think it just looks cool as hell. And, this is a knife that it should be all blacked out. Like that. This is one knife that even if I had the option of ordering it, it also comes in a green handle, by the way. If I had an option of ordering it coated or non-coated blade, I'd still order the black just because this knife should be all black or green and black. That's fine too if you like green and you're a weird person. Now we're going to a couple that are a little less expensive than this. So $79.95. This is the TAC XR D2 blade. Probably has the best action of anything sitting here. I don't know what it is, if this one is just a great quality control example. I don't think so. I bought this one. These three were provided by the manufacturer. So I just bought this one. So I just got it. I paid full retail at Blade HQ, and it's kind of an impulse buy. This has probably the best ergonomics as well. You're looking at a Cryo D2 blade. Oh, by the way, it was XHP also on the Pentagon, if I didn't say that. I think I did, but who knows. The TAC XR is really nice. The only thing I don't like about it, and it's really just kind of visual, I guess, because the balance is still pretty decent, as you can see. Just the blade to handle ratio seems kind of off. But I do really like this blade shape. I wouldn't mind if the belly went up just a bit, or if the straight part went just a little bit before I hit the belly. That wouldn't bother me at all. But that Cryo D2 is pretty good that SOG uses. I have it on one of the D2 Terminus XRs, and it holds up pretty decent. Ergos are just so good. Stats on this one, we have an overall length of 9 inches, blade length of 3.375 inches, blade thickness, again, 0.13 inches. They're sticking with that thin steel. I do like that a whole lot. Handle thickness, 0.56. And a weight, according to my scales, of 5¼ ounces. It's, again, very comfortable in the hand. Great action. That same clip you see on all of them. Not completely deep carry, but I really do like this clip. You don't need much more than this. And SOG is always going to put their name on the clip. That's just the way it's going to be, but yeah. And next we have an update of one of their classic models. So this is the new, I have to get the whole name correctly. This is the SOG Flash Mk3 AT-XR. This is an assisted knife. It comes in a few different colors. I really like this blue. It pops. It looks cool. So yes, it does have the XR lock, but obviously you got to close it. I have to say, at first I thought an assisted knife with that kind of lock, that's going to be a pain in the butt to close. It isn't. It's actually a bit easier than closing it, you know, via a liner lock. Because a lot of, you know, assisted knives are liner locks and you got to close it like that. It's actually easier. I'm really surprised by that. It does have a lot and a secondary lock on it if you want to, if you're worried about it going off in your pocket. Spoiler, it ain't gonna, because the detent on this thing is pretty darn strong. I mean, listen to that. I've never had an assisted knife that fired like this thing. It's pretty impressive for sure. It does have a bit of a rattle that's slightly annoying, but love the way it looks. I keep wanting to grab. That's the only weird thing about having this lock here. You keep wanting to grab it, you know, to fire it out, but that's not how you do it. Lovely deep carry clip. Yeah, it's ambidextrous. Goes right hand, left hand. So yeah, all these knives are completely ambidextrous, which is fantastic. Ergos are really good. That lock doesn't get in your way or anything, and once it's open, you can't engage it anyway. Really like the where the jimping's placed. The ergos are just outstanding. SOG is killing it with the ergos on these, and I love this blade shape. It's just simple drop point. I like it. And you're looking at about 22 thousandths beyond the edge, you know, pretty average, very high flat grind. Coated D2 blade, cryo D2 again. Great. I don't really like assisted knives. I don't own any. I think maybe I own one again now. Cause yeah, I'm just impressed that these are from the Studies and Observation Group, whatever they want to call themselves now. And like I said, they've said themselves, they know that they've had some stinkers in the last few years. But everything I've gotten from them lately, the Terminus, you know, I have both versions of the Terminus, all of these, they've all been really impressive. Oh, by the way, this is $74.95. I don't think I mentioned the price on that one. They've all been pretty impressive and worth the money. And I'm just glad to see them doing well again. Like I said, I do have an affection for the company. Glad to see some XHP in a production knife again on these two. That's one of my favorite steels, and you don't see it anymore. Cold Steel used to use it, and they couldn't get enough of it anymore, so they switched to S35VN. I don't know where SOG's getting theirs. But congrats, guys. I'm glad to see back. I really am. And you will see, if you don't see full reviews of these, you're at least going to see them in long-term updates and in, you know, comparison tests and things like that in the future. But like I said, I didn't want to make this the month of SOG. So I decided to put them all together in one video and just talk about how they're killing it in 2020. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I've been Brian. Have a good one.